welcome to Nexus channel. Today I have a guest here. So can you do the self-introduction to us?
I will. Thank you so much for the invite. My name is Thomas Kolster, and I'm an ex-advertising guy who since 2010 have been trying to change the industry and put a stronger focus on the value of sustainability and integrating that into brand. I'm an author of 2 books, Zero Trap and Goodvertising, and have a consultancy as well where we advise non-profits, corporates, and governments.
I see. Great. So how long have you been in that business?
Since, the gray hairs are coming out now. Since, so what was originally an agency in 2009 got turned around. So probably now for 16 years.
Okay, great.
Yeah, 16 years now.
I see. Okay, so today I have 2 questions. And the first one is, how do your concepts in good advertisement, that's your book, and the Hero Trap, that's the latest one, right?
Yeah.
And influence corporate sustainability strategies? What do you think?
Yeah, so a lot have changed. The first book came out basically out of frustration. As you might remember, the climate summit in 2009 was in Copenhagen, and I had hoped our elected government leaders to come up with some lasting results, which they didn't. So the book was sort of written on the back of that, and was the early days of sustainability. Was around Unilever Sustainable Living Plan in 2010 came out. So for me, I wanted to showcase the power of marketing, advertising, brand, starting to share these stories with people to obviously drive sustainable products and services. So this was the early days Goodvertising. Back then, it was a lot easier in the sense that not a lot of companies at that time positioned themselves around sustainability. So those who did, and I mean at that time at least, Unilever is one of the big sort of companies focused on fast-moving consumer goods, obviously carved out a niche. And then around 2020, the Hero Trap for me came from a very, very simple question, which was the market had changed. There was suddenly a lot of companies all that talked about sustainability. So I asked myself the question, so out of all these companies talking about it, who is authentic? Who can I trust? And that's sort of what led me to write the Hero Trap, which took which created a new methodology, a leadership framework, which said instead of making your company the hero or the change agent, the one that is ridding our world of ocean plastics, etc., it's much more important to turn each and every one of us, empower each and every one of us to be the agents of change. And so it very much sort of look at sort of democratization in general. It looks at what has now become sort of anti-vogue, this idea that if companies are too vocal, too hero-like, they're going to be pulled down. So it's early days of that, and obviously also for me to try and create a framework where climate diversity didn't become a polarizing issue, but something that could drive sort of personal change. So that was sort of the 2 books, two different times in sustainability.
When did you issue the latest one? That was
2020.
2020.
So just came out during COVID.
Okay, so since it's been about 5 years.
5 years, yes.
So do you have any idea writing the new book? Things are changing now.
I think things are definitely changing. I think for me, I always like to write books about what is coming. And the Hero Trap, at the time when everybody was talking about corporate purpose, I already started talking about corporate or post-purpose. So what is happening in a world where purpose has become mainstream? And so in many ways, I still feel that a lot of the frameworks actually are still applicable applicable today. But I think obviously the biggest shifts have obviously been the acceleration of things like anti-woke, anti-ESG, and in some ways I'm quite happy about that we have a contra movement.
Yes.
Because for me, that shows a friction between an old system and a new system. And typically when you meet the most inertia from the old system, this is probably where we finally accelerate. So I kind of see this as a positive turning point. So for me, probably a lot of my thinking goes into that wave.
I see.
Yeah.
So if you write the new book, what the theme will be? That will be like new system or new society or new?
Yeah, for me, I feel. Yeah, for me, I feel we have, in some ways, which I already hinted at a little bit in the hero trap, but I feel in some ways we have, as a movement, as a climate movement or as a sustainability movement, I think in some ways we have failed in terms of creating a broad appeal for something that's should be so simple to sell. I mean, I come from the world of advertising, and sometimes I have to sell, or had to sell, clothes to people who already had way too much clothes. Sustainability for me is basically about clean air, safer communities, all these things that shouldn't demand much selling. So I think we have failed in creating these narratives, and so for me, what I'm currently working on is a reset, is a reframing of the sustainability narrative that hopefully can become inclusive, so we don't have to think in left or right, or am I pro-climate, anti-climate. Even that it could be anti-climate sounds ridiculous, but so I want to find a way where we understand that we all live on this beautiful little blue planet together, and create a unified movement.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.